Today we're going to look at our 5.3 lesson. At the notes at the top it says that a rate is a ratio of two quantities using different units. So all of our rates are going to have two different units. A unit rate compares a quantity to one unit of another quantity. Every time we see the word unit, we write the number 1 near it because a unit rate is going to have a number 1 in it. So here's an example. The first rate is $27 for 3 pizzas. Rates, sometimes we think of as speed. We're going to see a lot of other examples of rates that are not necessarily speed. So here I'm paying $27 for 3 pizzas. The unit rate of that is not how much 3 pizzas would be, but just how much 1 pizza would be. If 3 pizzas are $27, then like it says right here, the first number divided by the second number, A divided by B, 27 divided by 3 is 9. So 1 pizza is $9. We'll go ahead and take a look at example 1. This is called a double number line, and what it is two number lines stacked right on top of each other. So at the bottom we see notes, 0 notes, 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, 4 notes, and so on. And then at the top we see how many points you earn for getting each of those notes correct in a music video game. The directions tell me to write a rate that represents this situation. Anywhere that the numbers are stacked straight across from each other, which on this number line there are 6 of, is an example of a rate. So I could say that one of my rates is, I'll use this one right here first, 300 points for every 2 notes. I could write another rate. I can say this one right here. 600 points for 4 notes. I could write a sentence very similar to that for all 6 of these circles. This one right here with the star above it is our unit rate because it has a 1. So 1 note is 150 points. Unit rates are really important because once I know this unit rate, once I know how many points I would get for 1 note, I could figure out how many points I could get for 10 notes or 20 notes or 100 notes. The unit rate has a 1 in it. Example 2, finding a unit rate. A piece of space junk travels 5 miles in 8 seconds. How far does it travel per second? So just like in 5.2 and 5.1, we're going to make a ratio table. Here's my original ratio. 5 miles in 8 seconds. So I'm comparing miles to seconds. We can abbreviate those if we want to, or if we were working somewhere that didn't have as big of a space. And we're going to draw a ratio table. The ratio the problem gives me, or the rate, is 5 miles in 8 seconds. How far does it travel per second? That's per 1 second. So I'm going to put a 1 next to the second. And the problem is asking me how far is this distance if that's a 1. So to go from the 8 to the 1, we're dividing by 8. To go from 5 to that same box, we will divide by 8. Students are allowed to use a calculator in this chapter, so if I type 5 divided by 8 into my calculator, I would get 0.625. So how far does it travel per second? It travels 0.625 miles per second. What we just found was the unit rate because there's a 1. And anytime that we see a 1, we're talking about a unit rate or a unit price or a unit ratio. Again, unit goes with 1. There is a shortcut that I could take for this. I could look at my ratio that's given in the problem and just know, well, this is 5 miles in 8 seconds. If instead of 8 seconds I just wanted 1 second, I could just so here's the shortcut, 5 divided by 8 without drawing this entire ratio. We would still get the same answer, but it's much quicker. Using the shortcut is appropriate if it's just giving me kind of a sentence like this, or if it just gives me this ratio and asks me to find the unit rate. But it's really important to know how to do it with the ratio table too, because we're going to get into some problems that are more challenging and we'll need the ratio table to stay organized. In example 3, we're finding equivalent rates. Equivalent rates are rates that are equal. A chef buys 6 pounds of salmon fillets for $51. How much will the chef pay for 9 more pounds of salmon fillets? I've always told the students that when I first hear ratio problems, they're very confusing. They immediately sound almost like I don't have enough information to solve the problem. And the reason they feel that way is because we haven't drawn a ratio table yet. So for a lot of students, that's the first step, is realizing that when they're getting stuck just reading the problem, they need to start drawing the ratio table, and that will help organize their thoughts. So here's my ratio, 6 pounds for $51. So the two things I'm comparing are pounds, which I'll abbreviate, and dollars, which I'll abbreviate. And I'll draw my ratio table. So the first ratio that it gives me is 6 pounds for $51. Well, now they want to know how much the chef will pay for 9 more pounds. So how much would I have to pay if I ordered 9 pounds? Now, in the previous problem, we would have said, how do I go from 6 to 9? What would I multiply by? Well, there's nothing that I can go from 6 straight to 9. So I'm going to get that unit rate. I'm going to stop at 1 first. So I'm going to go from 6 to 1, and then I'm going to go from 1 to 9. I'm going to go from 6 to 1 by doing divide by 6. So from that arrow goes from the first box to the second box. So from the first box to the second box, I'll do divide by 6. So 51 divided by 6 is 8.5. Then, this is going from the second box to the last box. So from the second box to the last box, we're going to multiply by 9, because 1 times 9 will get me 9. Times 9, so I'll hit times 9 in my calculator, 76.5. Some students are going to think that that's $76.05, but we need to emphasize that that's $76.50, because that 5 is in the tenths place. So how much will the chef pay for 9 more pounds? The chef will pay $76.50. B. You buy 2 pounds of tilapia fillets for $16. What is the cost for 7 pounds of tilapia? So it's very similar. We're doing pounds to dollars. The first one it gives me in the problem, so where I have both numbers, I have a number for pounds and a number for dollars, is 2 pounds for $16. They want to know the cost for 7 pounds, so I'm going to put my 7 in and make sure that I'm across from pounds. Again, I can't go from 2 over to 7 by multiplication. There's nothing I can multiply to. Well, there's not a whole number I can multiply 2 by to get 7. So I'm going to go to that unit rate in the middle first. From 2 to 1, I would divide by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Then from 1 to 7, I would multiply by 7. 8 times 7 is 56. So what is the cost? The cost is $56. Thank you for watching the 5.3 lesson. If you're a student watching this video for extra credit, the secret code word is pizza. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.